Whenever tragedy strikes, any thinking mind will ask the question. What's the question?
Why?
Why? God, why? Why? Any thinking mind has to ask this question. Why? And here's the disappointing but true reality that we must always remember. There is no answer to that question. If you ever encounter anyone who attempts to answer that question, know that they are not giving you the answer, because there is no answer to the question of why. And that's frustrating, because the mind is designed to understand. And whenever the mind confronts something that it cannot understand, it's frustrating. But the moment we begin to realize that there are certain things that the mind cannot grasp, then we can move forward. And instead of spending our time trying to understand that which cannot be understood, we take our energy and we move it towards a much more positive direction. This question of why is not only our question. This is one of the first questions that Moses asked God. It's one of the first questions that Moses asked God. He said, God, I want to understand why bad things happen to good people. And you're going to find people through your life. You'll read them in interviews in newspapers. You'll read them on the internet. You'll hear people give speeches. And they're going to give you reasons. And not one of those reasons are true. Because there is no reason. God, you know what God told Moses? God told Moses, Ki lo yir'ani ha'adam v'chai. It's not possible to be a human being and to be able to understand why these tragic things happen. How many of you have in your home an area rug? An area rug. You have a solid wooden floor and you have an area rug. You know what I'm talking about? How many of you have a Persian rug? Like a $10,000 magnificent rug hanging on the wall or on the floor. It's beautiful. We can spend a tremendous amount of money on such a rug. Did you ever flip over that rug? Just flip it over. Look at the other side. One side is magnificent. It's a piece of art. We will pay thousands of dollars for it. And you look at the other side, and it's a chaotic mess. It looks like the ugliest thing that you ever saw. Imagine if we just hung a rug right here. We hung a rug right here. And I'm standing on one side, and you're standing on the other. And I tell you, wow, look at this rug. It's magnificent. No wonder it costs $10,000. And you're on the other side and you say, what are you talking about? This is the ugliest thing I ever saw. There's no symmetry here. Everything's mixed together. There's no coordination. And I say, what are you talking about? Aren't we looking at the same thing? And of course we are. But we're looking at it from two different vantage points. And God says, when we look at certain situations in life, from the vantage point of a human being, it looks like a chaotic mess. And there is no way for a human being to look at such a situation and actually make sense of it. You know why? Here's the reason why. Because we are far better off not understanding than understanding. Because the moment a person can explain why a tragedy happened, you know what happens to us? The moment we can explain why a tragedy happened, a senseless tragedy, we lose our humanity. That's what happens. We lose our humanity. What makes us human starts going out the window. Let me give you a very simple example. Imagine you're in a hospital and you're visiting a young woman who has stage 4 lung cancer, God forbid. And the doctors say that there's no way to treat this, and she's only going to live for another 2 months at the most. She has little children at home. She's a mother. She's a husband. She's a daughter to parents. How many of you would say that that's a tragedy? How many of you say that was a tragedy? What would you feel when you're standing outside the room of such a woman and someone tells you this about her? What would you feel? Sad? Compassion? Your heart would go out for this woman. And now imagine that the doctor walks by and he sees that you're really distraught because of what you just heard. That here is someone suffering at a young age and they're going to die. They're going to leave little children at home without a mother. The parents are going to lose their daughter. And the doctor says, oh, let me explain to you why she has lung cancer. Because she would smoke 2 packs of cigarettes every single day for the last 20 years. And the smoke gave her lung cancer. You know what happens in a single moment of understanding? In that single moment, we understand. And a significant amount of our compassion leaves us. Oh, we can explain it. We understand. And we stop feeling. And when a human being stops feeling for another human being, we are losing our humanity. And so God said, I'm going to give you a little painful, frustrating gift. I'm not going to let you understand why tragedy happens. Because if we understand and start explaining why these things happen, we lose our humanity. We are no longer human beings. That's exactly what happens. So what do? Here's what we do. We do not respond with our mind, we respond with our soul. That is how a Jew responds to tragedy. We do not respond with our mind, we respond with our soul. Your mind's going to ask you why. But if you grab this tool for the rest of your life, you're going to know that you can ask why 1,000 times and you'll never know. And you'll know that you don't want to know. What you want to do is to be able to feel for another person. That's what we want to do. And this is the history of the Jewish people. We are an eternal people. We're less than 0.25% of humanity. There were attempts to wipe out the Jewish people countless times. We defy destruction. We defy tragedy. We were slaves in Egypt, and we came out. We went into the land of Israel, and the Philistines tried to destroy us. Have you ever met a Philistine? They're gone. We're here tonight. And only a few hundred years later, the Greeks came and destroyed our temple. They tried to destroy us. Have you met a Greek? An ancient Greek? No. The Romans came to destroy us. Can you say hello to an ancient Roman today? No. There was the Crusades, the Inquisition. You may or may not be familiar with all of these major efforts to destroy the Jewish people. And of course we all know about the Holocaust. But we are here today. All of us are here today. Because we are an eternal people. And the reason why we're an eternal people is because we know a secret. And that is that when tragedy hits us, we don't stop and ask why. We face it with our soul, not with our mind. And because the Jewish people have done that time and time again, we are here. Because you know and I know that a body can die. But a soul never dies. A soul is eternal. And as long as we respond with our soul, we remain an eternal people. We need to know one thing. That we must respond with our soul. There is no answer to why. When we're on this side of the tapestry, on this side of that rug, we see chaos. We don't need to understand it. We need to respond with compassion. We need to respond with soul. We cannot and we will not be stopped when these events happen. We need to stand up and become even more soulful people. And so I want to ask every one of you to do something. You guys ready? Everyone stand up. I respond with soul. Together, I respond with soul. I respond with soul. And together, we will respond with soul. May God bless every single one of you. May God bless the Jewish people. May God bless our great country of America and all of humanity. Thank you.